If you're okay with being a housekeeper, I'll give you the address. The one mocking me over the phone is my husband Travis's stepdaughter, Christina. For 15 years, I was practically the sole provider for our family. Now that I've got a job, I don't need your measly paycheck. With Dad around, we can live just fine, and it's time to return the lazy elderly who neglect their household duties. I wasn't neglecting my household duties. I had simply delegated some of them to Travis. Despite being unemployed and squandering the pocket money I gave him, I continued to forgive my husband Travis. In that case, I'm divorcing that unemployed fool husband of mine. At my declaration. Unemployed? Christina let out a peculiar. Travis, taking over the phone, laughed triumphantly for some reason. Funny. If you think you can, try and divorce me. You know you're in love with me, you won't be able to do it. Of course, I'm determined to do it. I've decided to cut ties with both of them. It's infuriating, but when I think about it calmly, they're bound to face difficulties without me. I'm Michaela, 52 years old, looking forward to the days of assured victory that are just beginning. I've been living with my husband Travis and his stepdaughter Christina for about 15 years. The reason for my late marriage is none other than dedicating my life to my career. Back in my younger days, it was rare for women to climb the corporate ladder, especially balancing marriage and childbirth was challenging. I struggled with this and eventually resigned myself to remaining single. Then, Travis appeared in my life. He was a mid-career hire at my company, and at the time, he was one of my subordinates. He looked so young and endearing for someone in his 30s. I was surprised to learn Travis was a single father with a 6-year-old daughter. Travis would cook and wait for me at home while I was busy with work. I did the cleaning and laundry, but not having to prepare meals was a real relief. Christina was initially nervous, but she gradually warmed up to me and became truly adorable. I feel fortunate to be in a rewarding work environment today. A few years ago, I was promoted to an executive position, and my passion for my work grew even more. I am grateful for the support of my family. Christina is now in her 20s. She struggled with job hunting, but with my referral, she managed to secure a full-time position. I'm in my 50s, and Travis has indeed become an old man. We became a family midway through, but the 15 years of accumulation are anything but light. I had always believed our peaceful family life would continue as is. The beginning of it all, I think, was a few years ago when I was promoted to an executive position. At the time, having just received my promotion privately, I was so thrilled I practically danced my way home. Seeing my elated state, Christina, who was in her junior year of high school, must have been puzzled.
What's going on, Michaela? You seem happy.
Christina used to call me Michaela. Her real mother was
Mom.
And I was known by my first name, Michaela.
Just a little something. Maybe next month something good might happen.
She probably realized what I was hinting at after hearing the timing. After Christina went back to her room, Travis approached me. Could it be a promotion? By that time, Travis had started working at a different company. Not long after we got married, Travis mentioned he wanted to change jobs. It's awkward having my wife at the company. With such a reason, he actually left his job and moved to another company as a part-time office clerk. He was pleased with his new job since it was easier, but from the perspective of a full-time employee at my company, he was making about half the salary. Therefore, our living expenses inevitably depended on my salary. That's why I had assumed Travis would be happy about my promotion leading to a higher income.
Yeah, it's not confirmed yet, but I might be getting a promotion.
I think my tone was quite uplifted at the time. However, Travis's reaction was cold.
Do you love your job that much? I don't get it.
he said, sighing. His unexpected response left me speechless. When the official announcement came, things got even worse. Becoming a director meant I would receive executive compensation. The moment Travis learned about the specific amount, he began sulking like a child.
If you can earn that much, then you don't need me anymore.
I tried to soothe the pouting Travis.
Don't say things like that. I was able to work hard because you were with me.
No matter how much I praised or flattered him, Travis remained sullen. I was quite downcast by Travis's reaction, but I thought time would solve it. We had had our differences in the past, but we always managed to get along well after some time. However, Travis quit his job without consulting me at all.
We have enough with your income.
Even though he had said his job was easy, the fact that he quit was a bit shocking, but it was true that we could live on my salary. The household would now be supported solely by me, which might be considered normal for a husband living with his housewife. Originally, I was the one paying for rent, electricity bills, daily food expenses, and all other living expenses, including Christina's tuition fees. The new expenses were Travis and Christina's smartphone bills and their pocket money. Travis started asking for an increase in his allowance like clockwork every month. It began with $300, then $500. I finally drew the line at $700, but Travis kept complaining.
I had over $1,000 to spend freely when I was working, and this is all I get now.
I was dumbfounded by Travis's selfishness. No matter how much I earn, there's a limit. I made a list, dividing the monthly payment amounts by category, making the total expenses clear at a glance.
This is how much goes out every month.
See, it's tough.
There's hardly anything left for savings. Considering our retirement, I can't give you any more. If you want more money, consider working part-time.
Travis grimaced as if annoyed and turned his back on me, sulking. The childlike gestures that once seemed endearing now appeared merely childish and saddened me. From this point, our marital relationship rapidly deteriorated. And now, although my relationship with Travis had been gradually improving, lately things have been awkward with Christina. She responds when spoken to, but her replies are mostly yeah or okay, and the conversation doesn't flow. Even during adolescence, we had more engaging conversations, so I wondered what had happened. I thought hard but couldn't pinpoint any specific reason. If there was anything between us, it could only be the strain in my relationship with Travis. Since Christina is Travis's biological daughter, it might be natural for her to dislike me if it seemed like Travis and I were not getting along. Moreover, Christina is now in her 20s. She's no longer a child, so some distance as she grows independent could be expected. Though I understood, it still felt lonely. Then, one day, something happened. It was one evening while Travis was taking a shower. Travis's smartphone, left on the table, rang, displaying a text notification. I was shocked by the brief glimpse I caught of the notification screen, showing a woman's name followed by heart emojis. After much hesitation, I decided to take a look at Travis's smartphone. I believe in privacy, even between spouses, but I couldn't let it go. Travis's pattern lock was simple, and having seen it sideways before, I remembered it. Sneaking a peek, I discovered Travis had become a regular at a nightclub, infatuated with one of the waitresses there. A text from a young woman read,
"Thanks for the present yesterday. Let's have lots of fun again. Make sure to come to the club. I'll be waiting."
A wave of unpleasant emotions surged through me. I couldn't stop imagining the worst. Was it just business, or something more? Feeling dizzy, I closed the screen. Feeling sick, I staggered away from the living room toward the bathroom. But midway, I became too overwhelmed to continue and had to rest in the hallway. Just as I came out of the bathroom, Christina noticed me and stopped in her tracks, surprised.
What are you doing?
I barely managed to raise my face to her suspicious voice. Christina, who had just appeared before me, seemed like the only ally I had. You know, Travis might be cheating. Struggling to get the words out, I was met with even more devastation. Upon hearing my words, Christina laughed scornfully, as if ridiculing me.
Huh, so what? It's because you're not attractive to him. No one can keep loving a 50-year-old. Just give up.
I was shocked by the behavior of Christina, whom I had thought of as my own daughter despite not being related by blood. Christina walked past me as I covered my face and cried, unable to hide my shock. Around that time, I had a business trip coming up. Heartbroken, I left for a 2-night, 3-day trip, pondering what to do next. I couldn't forgive the cheating, but maybe the other person was only interacting with Travis for work. If I communicated how much I detested it to Travis and we talked it over, perhaps he would understand. With that hope, I returned home, only to drop my bags in shock as soon as I entered. The house was empty. Furniture, appliances, everything was gone. Rushing to my home office, which I also used for work, thankfully, it was untouched. But Christina's room was empty. Travis's clothes and the figures he collected as a hobby were all gone too. I think I was in a daze for a full hour. I found myself crying uncontrollably. Still unable to grasp the situation, I hurriedly called Travis. Travis answered the phone calmly, saying,
Christina said she was moving out, so I followed. It's obvious I want to live with my real family, right?
Ah, we're keeping the furniture and stuff.
Stuff like this should go to the one with more people.
Stunned by Travis's matter-of-fact tone, I managed to ask,
What does Christina say about all this?
This time, Christina came on the line. She sounded annoyed as she answered,
What's happening? Where are you?
I barely managed to get the question out. Christina sounded exasperated.
If you're okay with being a housekeeper, I'll give you the address.
Her laughter-filled response made me collapse to the floor. Unable to even sit, I lay there listening to Christina's voice.
Now that I've got a job, I don't need your measly paycheck. With Dad around, we can live just fine, and it's time to return the lazy elderly who neglect their household duties.
I hadn't been neglecting my household duties. I had simply delegated some to Travis. Was it necessary to be treated this way? Due to my responsible position at work, I was often busy and came home late. So, I had asked Travis to handle cooking for breakfast and dinner, which he had offered to do since he claimed to be good at it when we got married. Travis only helped with meals, and I took care of cleaning and laundry on weekends or early in the morning. I knew that housewives of my age were doing more household chores. Of course, I was working, but I still felt somewhat inferior. That's why I always forgave Travis, even when he was unemployed and spent all the allowance I gave him on leisure. Furthermore, it felt indescribable how Christina didn't recognize my role at all. Despite nearly being the sole provider for our family for 15 years, it seems she hadn't given it any thought. I don't know how Travis explained it to her, but perhaps it's my fault for not discussing it in detail.
Say something. If you're not, I'm hanging up,
Christina said condescendingly as I remained silent. I could hear Travis laughing in the background. Ah, this father and daughter are discarding and mocking me. Feeling something within me cool, I stated.
In that case, I'm divorcing that unemployed fool husband of mine,
I told Christina decisively. It was hard to believe I had wished for reconciliation just moments ago, as my heart had completely detached from both of them.
Unemployed?
Christina let out a strange voice. seemingly surprised. Perhaps she was unaware of Travis's situation. So, I explained briefly.
Travis is unemployed. He was a part-time clerk for a long time but quit when I got promoted. He hasn't been working part-time since then.
Christina seemed confused by my answer. Her next words gave me a vague understanding of what had happened.
Huh? You're the one with the part-time job, right? You've been leeching off Dad's salary.
Oh, now I get it. Travis was the one who had been misleading Christina to think that way. If she knew the truth, could Christina return to a sensible state? Clinging to a sliver of hope, I attempted to persuade her.
After we got married, Travis quit his job immediately. He's been part-time for over 10 years. I don't know what you've heard, but wake up. That's a lie. Dad's been richer than before, buying me whatever I want. You're the fake parent and now you're talking crazy. What you're saying is impossible.
Christina was momentarily taken aback by the truth I shared. But it seemed far from a wake-up call. Resigning myself to the state of our relationship, I continued explaining with a sigh.
He seemed rich because he spent his entire salary on himself. Thanks to me paying all the living expenses, Travis didn't contribute $1 to the household. I've been working since I was young, and now I'm an executive. My income is high.
Only breathing could be heard from the other end of the phone. Christina seemed astonished. After a moment, her voice came through, sounding distant.
Wait, she's saying Dad's unemployed, but that can't be, right? What? She's telling the truth? What?
It appeared she was speaking to Travis, moving the phone away from her mouth. Listening intently, amidst Christina's commotion, the call was handed over to Travis.
What did you tell Christina?
She's freaking out over here. I was dumbfounded by his relaxed tone. After taking everything from the house and leaving, he had neither apologies nor excuses. Without trying to hide my irritation, I spoke sternly to Travis.
All I did was tell you you're unemployed. If you two are living together, it'll become obvious soon enough. What have you been telling Christina? She seemed to think I was the one working part-time. And what's with the state of this house? Taking everything without permission is outrageous.
Expecting at least some apology from Travis, I was met with none. Without offering any defense, Travis blurted out more nonsense.
Don't say things like that. You can just buy whatever you need again, you have the money. Oh, right. I'll give you the account details for the rent, so take note.
What a misguided statement. After taking everything and leaving, he's still counting on my income? Shocked to the core, I hadn't checked in detail, but my debit card and possibly other items might have been taken too. Regaining my composure from the floor, I stood up, letting my indignation straighten my stance.
I've told Christina as well, but I'm divorcing you. How amusing.
Hearing his carefree laughter, I held my head. The sheer ignorance of Travis to the severity of the situation filled me with dizzying anger.
Go ahead and try. You know you're in love with me, you won't be able to do it.
Travis said, sounding triumphant. But in my heart,
of course, I can.
I thought. My affection for him ended yesterday. After such treatment, any feelings of love cooled instantly. To think I stayed with such a man, that's what's truly unbelievable.
Is that so? Well then.
I spoke quietly, maintaining my usual calm. Ignoring Travis as he began to say something more, I hung up the phone. Then, I turned off my smartphone. I needed some quiet time to think. I cut off the possibility of any annoying calls. Finally, I regained my calm. Though infuriating, when thinking calmly, I was overwhelmingly in a better position. The two of them would undoubtedly face difficulties. A future of assured victory awaits, starting now. The next day, when I turned on my smartphone, there was already a message from Christina. Please forgive me, let me come back. I refuse. You said you'd live with your real father, didn't you? I replied indifferently. Such a quick change of heart seemed pitiful. Then, Christina, in a panic, said something unbelievable.
I'll leave him, so please. The rent for this place is too high. I can't pay it at all. I only believed that idiot dad because he said he'd handle the rent and everything. I'm the victim here.
There were too many points to address. I didn't know where to start. First was the audacity to claim herself as the victim. Had she forgotten how she mocked me? What about Travis's alleged affairs that she commented on? Coming back to me as if forgetting everything was unforgivable. The lack of independence, willing to rely on someone even after becoming an adult, and the ugliness of cursing her own father. Everything was beyond limits.
I will not help you. You're not welcome back at the house. Don't ever show your face again.
I hung up the phone. Then, I set it to block incoming calls, including Travis's number. That evening, when I got home, Travis and Christina were waiting in front of the house. Travis looked displeased, seemingly dragged along by Christina. I had called a locksmith in a rush the day before and had the locks changed overnight. They couldn't enter and had no choice but to wait outside. Expecting their arrival, I pushed past Christina, who was rushing towards me, and thrust the divorce papers at Travis.
Sign this now. Here's a pen. Get it over with quickly.
Travis, intimidated by my serious anger, quietly signed the papers. Submitting this would mean I'd abandon the last name I've grown accustomed to over 15 years and return to my maiden name. Trying not to show my relief, I informed them.
I've already consulted with a lawyer. We'll discuss the division of assets before submitting this. Reluctantly, but fair is fair, we've been together for 15 years, so let's split everything from that period in half.
The two of them, suddenly overjoyed, believed they were being forgiven, with Christina even joining hands with Travis, both smiling broadly. It confirmed they were after the money, not my forgiveness. But this was my trap. I spoke coldly to the rejoicing pair. To clarify, assets acquired before marriage aren't divided. Since our expenses increased after marriage, savings have barely grown. Of course, I'll also claim compensation for the divorce, including for the furniture and appliances you took. After offsetting those, wonder how much you two will receive. Christina was shocked. Travis, glared at by Christina, was flustered. Thinking this might be overkill, I still couldn't bring myself to ease up.
I've paid Christina's tuition in full, but I won't ask for that back. Consider it thanks for making me feel like a mother, even for a moment. However, I'll need to inform your employer. They hired you on my recommendation. After all, they should know we're no longer family.
Christina turned pale, likely unaware of the tuition and job assistance. Regarding the job assistance, Travis had said,
"Let's not tell Christina. It'd be pitiful to give her unnecessarily worries."
Not telling her was a mistake, in hindsight. Leaving the two in turmoil, I got into my car. The house was empty and filled with unpleasant memories anyway. I had planned to stay at a hotel that day. Later, before submitting the divorce papers, I had a lawyer demand compensation for the divorce from Travis. Of course, the reasons were both the treatment I received and the infidelity. Having learned the name of the nightclub, I deliberately visited Travis's favorite girl there. I secured plenty of evidence of the affair by agreeing not to pursue damages. However, I had no intention of letting the affair partner off entirely and exacted a bit of revenge. Specifically, I investigated her parents and informed them of their daughter's misdeeds. Subsequently, the nightclub girl had to quit both her job and university, being sent back to her hometown. I'm nothing but grateful to the detective agency that gathered the information for me. Months later, Christina quickly found herself in financial trouble. I temporarily lifted the block on my smartphone, listening only to the voicemails from the two. Travis's messages were pleas for loans. They moved to a cheaper place, but it still wasn't enough. Christina also left a tearful message. Of course, I didn't respond or call back. In one of the voicemail, "It's hard to live," transformed into, "I've had to borrow money because of our financial difficulties. Dad does nothing but sleep all day. I never knew he was such a lazy person." Travis's audacity was astonishing. I was momentarily swayed when I heard Christina sobbing, but the messages that followed contained not a word of apology, only self-centered demands. "Hurry up and take this guy back. I'm in trouble. I didn't sign up for this." Their lack of thought for apologizing to me solidified my decision to ignore them. Especially Christina's readiness to abandon her father and me who had raised her this far. I wondered if my upbringing was at fault, yet I doubted that I alone could shape such character flaws. Travis seemed to be the root of all evil. I wished to believe. I hoped this would be the end, but it wasn't. Seeking reconciliation, Travis and Christina showed up at my workplace. I had installed cameras at home, expecting them to come there, but never anticipated them coming to my company. Out of concern for causing a disturbance, I led them to a conference room, apologizing to my colleagues beforehand. "I'm terribly sorry for causing a commotion over my personal matters." Instead of blaming me, my colleagues showed concern and support. Some of the long-standing employees, who remembered the lackluster Travis from his time in the company, offered their sympathy. Emboldened by my colleagues' encouragement, I prepared my smartphone as a voice recorder and confronted the two. "Michaela, let's start over." "Mom, please take him back. He's telling me to support him. I can't live if I have to take care of this." As soon as I opened the conference room door, Travis and Christina raised their voices simultaneously. Their words echoed not just outside the room, but down the hallway. Didn't they feel embarrassed? Ignoring Travis, I decided to speak with Christina first. "You left to live on your own, remember? Don't start making demands now, Christina." I spoke gently and Christina looked down with tearful eyes. Her lips trembled as if searching for words, and eventually, she began to speak heavily. "It's not like that. I thought Dad was rich, that he'd just give us money. I thought we could live easily." I sighed deeply, realizing it was all about money in the end. Sensing from my demeanor that there was no hope, Christina's complexion worsened as she hurriedly continued. But it was him who said we'd go together. I was just deceived, so please, Mom, help me." "Who's your mom?" I stated firmly. "You've always called me Michaela, making a clear distinction from your real mom. Don't call me Mom just when it suits you. And don't talk about living off your parents' money, it's disgraceful. You're an adult who has a job now, support yourself." I ended up scolding her as if she were still a child. Christina was sobbing uncontrollably. No matter how much she cried, my once frozen heart wouldn't thaw. I found myself speaking in a surprisingly cold tone. "I don't consider someone who cozies up for money as family. Changing attitudes based on whether someone has money means they're not more important than money itself. You should stop taking people for granted." The air seemed to freeze. Christina stopped sniffling as if holding her breath. Turning to Travis, who was visibly shaken, I continued.
You want to start over? Disgusting. Haven't you realized you're disliked? Why don't you get along with the young lady from the nightclub? She's a university student, 2 years younger than Christina, right?
Feigning ignorance, I watched as Travis grimaced pathetically. He always makes that face when things don't go his way. Next to him, Christina was glaring at Travis with disbelief, apparently unaware that Travis's affair partner was younger than her.
No, it was her job to have drinks with me. It doesn't count as cheating. Are you jealous? Michaela, you wanted to get along with me too, didn't you?
Faced with Travis's flippant attitude, I was appalled. Hard to believe I once loved this man. If I could meet my younger self, I'd warn her about her terrible taste. As I stood to leave, Travis tried to cling to me.
Don't touch me, you're filthy.
I must have looked very detached. Why did you let Christina believe you were the one supporting the household? Out of curiosity, I asked, and Travis attempted to justify himself. It's embarrassing, isn't it? A father being outdone by the mother. So I just said a little something. Forgive me. I nearly shouted at him to get a grip. But I remembered I was recording just in time. I wanted to remain calm, undisturbed by anything.
If we're talking about income, it's not about winning or losing. Being a house husband could have been a respectable job if only you'd done it properly.
Though in my mind, I added, a house husband who only cooked. I had hoped he'd take on more responsibilities after quitting his job, but cleaning and laundry remained my tasks.
He's not a house husband, he just sleeps. He cooks, but it's always half-hearted, and he doesn't do any other household chores at all. And he's unemployed.
I had wondered if Christina had taken on the chores or if both were neglecting them, but it seems Christina had been doing them. It looks like she got a taste of the hardships I had endured.
What did you say? How dare you speak to a parent like that?
Travis and Christina began attacking each other, showcasing their worst relationship. It's ironic considering they left together on such good terms, only to end up in a physical altercation. I screamed in surprise and stepped back, opening the door. The noise and voices had attracted my colleagues from outside the conference room. Seeing Travis and Christina surrounded by their stern faces, they quieted down.
Director, are you okay? We can call security if you'd like.
Hearing an employee offer this, Christina looked shocked. Everyone present was my subordinate, and thus, they all addressed me with respect. Seeing this reality, Christina finally seemed to truly understand and sat down.
So it was true. Michaela is someone important.
Christina's downturned figure looked pitiable. I couldn't bring myself to help her, but I did feel sorry for her. However, in the next moment, the pitiable Christina turned into a demon.
Liar. You said Michaela was living thanks to you, but you lied about her earnings being minimal, you deceitful old man.
Screaming this, Christina charged at Travis with a face full of anger. She even went as far as to grab Travis by the neck. Several male colleagues hurriedly intervened to separate them. Security arrived and restrained Christina, while Travis had taken the chance to flee. Later, employees who witnessed the scene told me Travis's neck bore clear red marks from being attacked by Christina. After a short while, Christina was also escorted out. I apologized to all present employees for the disturbance and expressed my sincere regret for causing such a scene. It was embarrassing to have such people as family. My colleagues were all sympathetic towards me.
Let's get back to work.
With that, I too decided to return to my duties. I took out my smartphone as if remembering and stopped the recording. While I felt embarrassed for causing a scene, there was also a sense of relief. 2 nights later, as I was relaxing at home, I received an unexpected call from the police. Incredibly, Travis had reportedly assaulted Christina, causing her injury.
Travis attacked Christina, not the other way around? The victim is Christina? Are you sure?
I asked repeatedly, incredulous. Of course, my mind was filled with images of Christina rampaging in the conference room. The police chuckled, seemingly catching on to something. They informed me Travis wanted me to be his guarantor. Christina, now a victim, also wanted to rely on me. I refused both.
We are already divorced, making us strangers. Christina was his stepchild, and she left on her own.
Due to this incident, Travis was disowned by his own family and left without a place to go. It seems Christina forgave him, leading to no charges, but he disappeared somewhere. I saw a homeless man who looked a lot like the director's ex-husband sleeping on the street. I heard such rumors, but their truth remains unclear. Christina's injuries were significant, leading to mounting medical bills and further financial difficulties. Eventually, caught in a bout of shoplifting, she was easily apprehended. Learning of this through a call asking me to be a guarantor again, I formally declared our estrangement. Christina's misdeeds became known at her company, costing her the job she had finally secured. Please, help me. A call to my office, bypassing the block on my phone, had Christina pleading through tears. My heart remained unmoved, fully aware by now that Christina only ever considered herself.
It's disrupting work, it's a nuisance. Continue to interfere with our operations, and I'll report you to the police. You are a stranger to me now, understand?
I informed her calmly, and she hastily ended the call after a gasp. I hadn't really thought such a threat would hold, but it seemed to have the desired effect. After that, all contact ceased. The last I heard of Christina came from a male colleague.
Could this be your daughter?
He hesitantly showed me a nightclub's website, featuring a woman with flashy hair, unmistakably Christina.
Oh, she does look similar. She was my ex-husband's stepchild, not strictly my daughter. Well, as long as she's working hard at whatever job, that's fine by me.
I kept my voice as gentle as possible. Since then, I've been enjoying a carefree life alone. The house we lived in as 3 was too large, so I moved to a high-rise condo with high security. Now, even if Travis or Christina were to look for me, they couldn't reach me. It's ironic, considering I've been praised for my discernment with subordinates at work, but apparently, I lacked it in my personal life. After not realizing their true nature for 15 years, it seems I still have much to learn. Though I intended to stay single for a while, a wonderful man I met through work asked me out to dinner almost immediately after hearing about my divorce. He's a year older. A composed individual, a senior executive at a client company, and I deeply respect his work ethic. He seems to appreciate my work as well, showing great respect for my professional demeanor. We discovered a shared interest in the works of the same film director, and we might go see the new film together. The prospect of a new romance makes me feel slightly rejuvenated.